Yes, there is no doubt that the United Kingdom is one of the most beloved countries on this channel. Understand the sarcasm, and it is that their passage through the American continent was not exactly a fair game at all times, but thanks to certain maneuvers and the use of hard power, they constantly usurped territories, in some cases with consequences that last to this day. Are you interested in knowing 5 of them? Alright, then stay until the end of the video. The 50 Argentine peso bill carries the map of the Malvinas Islands, which are currently under British control under the name of Falkland. And it is that the claim of the islands, whose history was seen in this video, is very present in the Argentine people, since by the principle of uti possidetis juris, the old Spanish command of the Malvinas Islands should have belonged to independent Argentina, who maintained its sovereignty until 1833. It is in this year when the British expelled the small Argentine garrison from the islands, taking as an excuse that Commodore John Byron had taken possession of the islands in 1765, although they abandoned it shortly after. Since then, the British consolidated control of the islands, which they turned into a sheep pastoral colony. It was not until 1982 that Argentina tried to recover them by force, unsuccessfully due to their failed military campaign in which the British had the support of Chile. Today, the Falklands are considered by the UN as a territory pending decolonization, by the United Kingdom as one of its overseas territories, and by Argentina as part of the province of Tierra del Fuego, Antarctica, and South Islands. Although its inhabitants, nicknamed as helpers, seem to be content with being part of the United Kingdom. Can you imagine a neighboring country claiming more than half of your territory? Well, this is the case of Belize, where Guatemala claims 18 miles of its territory. During the Spanish era, all of Belize's territory was part of the old Captaincy General of Guatemala and was known as the Beacon. It wasn't until 1787 that the British began to establish settlements with the aim of exploiting a valuable resource, the Campeche tree. Although this was illegal, Spain ceded part of the Beacon to the United Kingdom through the Treaty of Paris in 1783, but only the territories south of the Sibam River, which represented about 10,000 square kilometers, which it named as British Honduras. By 1859, when Guatemala was already an independent country, it signed a treaty with the United Kingdom in which it ceded the rest of the territory of present-day Belize in exchange for the construction of a road from Guatemala City to Belize City. However, this road was never built, so in 1946, the Guatemalan Congress declared this treaty null and void and has since claimed the territory, even after Belize's independence. Today, a dispute has been opened in the International Court of Justice after popular consultations in both countries, which is still pending resolution, so the borders of the American continent may continue to vary. News like this, where Venezuelan troops are mobilizing to the border with Guyana, worried more than one person. This refers to the Essequibo, a territory of 159,000 square kilometers that represents almost 75% of current Guyana and belonged to the old Captaincy General of Venezuela, whose eastern limit was the Essequibo River, and that the Republic of Venezuela inherited and controlled until 1899. It is in this year that the Paris Arbitration Award is given, in which Venezuela did not participate, but the United States in its place, in which, based on a random map, the United Kingdom claimed to extend its colony to Mount Roraima, after which the court ruled in its favor. Being the hegemonic power of the moment, on the other hand, Venezuela couldn't do much, and it is not until 1976, during the Geneva Agreement, in which it issues a formal claim, just in the same year that Guyana obtains its independence. However, this claim was never realized, especially during the Chavez era, in which good relations were established with Guyana. It is not until 2023 that the current Venezuelan government officially annexed the Essequibo as a state of the country after a popular consultation. Of course, some see this as a measure to stay in power ahead of the 2024 elections. All Venezuelans talk about the usurpation of the Essequibo, but not many know about the usurpation of Trinidad. It turns out that the main island of the current Republic of Trinidad and Tobago was in the past a Spanish province that was also part of the General Captaincy of Venezuela. That is, its inhabitants spoke Spanish until 1797, a key year in the country's history. This is when the British invasion of the island occurs in the context of the Anglo-Spanish War of 1796, yes, when Spain was still an ally of France, so it sought retaliation. The invasion of Trinidad was successful, so for the peace agreement signed in the Treaty of Amiens, it was agreed that Trinidad would remain under British control, who later merged it with the island of Tobago to form the country of Nicki Minaj. And to close this list, we have the only territory that after the usurpation was recovered by the countries that claimed it. I'm referring to the Miskito Kingdom, based on the homonymous ethnicity, and lived on the so-called Mosquito Coast between Honduras and Nicaragua. It turns out that due to the dense jungle surrounding this region, it was never thoroughly explored by the Spaniards, who considered this territory as part of the Captaincy General of Guatemala. The goal of the United Kingdom was to ensure the safety of the maritime routes in its Caribbean possessions. Thus, they established relations with the Miskito indigenous people, who founded a monarchy that functioned de facto as a protectorate of the United Kingdom. Even after the independence of Central America and subsequently of Nicaragua and Honduras, the Miskito Kingdom remained in force. However, during the second half of the 19th century, the United States began to pressure the United Kingdom to abandon its influence on the continent, something that was embodied in the Clayton-Badware Treaty. Thus, 10 years later, the British began their withdrawal on the condition that the Miskito Nation retain its autonomy, although in 1894, during the government of Santos Zelaya, the territory was completely reincorporated into Nicaragua. In conclusion, these have been the 5 usurpations of the United Kingdom in Latin America, some by force, others with unethical maneuvers that in the long run generated questions and disputes that remain to this day. So in a certain way, the affection that we have in this region for the colonial past of the United Kingdom is understood. What other usurpation do you know of by the British? Don't forget to leave your comment and subscribe to the channel. Also, I leave in the description my social networks, and in case you want to see the new videos in pre-release and have a greater interaction with me, your donations on Patreon, unamanito.net, or channel members are welcome. See you next time.